So this is something I've been thinking about in all this talk of to leave Twitter or to not leave Twitter. So when Elon first bought Twitter, so many people were like, I'm leaving, I'm leaving, I'm leaving, I'm leaving. And so it was all these apps trying to spout up and take advantage of that. So I don't know if you all know, but I'm sure most of you know Instagram has a Twitter like app called Threads. There's Spill, which has two black founders. There's Spoutable. And then now lots of people are leaving the app and they're going to Blue Sky. I don't know if Blue Sky existed when Elon first bought Twitter. I think so, but I'm not sure. And so another app that spouted up is shown in this photo behind me. It was called literally the Black Twitter app. It was founded by a Black woman, the woman that you can see behind me, Jordana. Her name is Jordana Wright. And I actually, just happened to connect with her on Twitter. I hosted a Twitter space with her on Twitter where I interviewed her about the app and people got to ask her questions. And it seemed really cool. Like she was building the app herself. She was funding it for the most part with her own money. And it just seemed, really cool. And I was hoping that it would take off. She worked on the technology to get Spaces, which Spaces, as I'm sure you can imagine, is a very difficult technology to have on an app because it's very complex to get it to work. And she worked that out, and she was trying to us as lay people, like people that are not web developers or app developers, we don't realize how difficult it is to have, like, for example, DMing in an app, or the ability to like bookmark tweets or posts in an app. And so she was building all those things like piece by piece. And I was really hoping that it would take off, but when you're so used to using Twitter, it's really hard to transition to another app that is very similar to Twitter. Like, especially when everybody keeps saying they're leaving, but they're still on Twitter. And so, like, for example, I hardly ever use Threads. And even I got an account on the Black Twitter app, and I would use it every now and then, check in every now and then, but I didn't use it. And I even tried to put it next to the icon next to Twitter on my phone so that every day I would at least go on there and post something. I encouraged people to get accounts on there. But it just never really, I would always just end up going back to Twitter. And I know that Jordana was really trying to create like a safe space because for those of you that don't know, Black women have always been the most persecuted, from what I've seen, group of people on Twitter. And probably still are today, if not one of the most persecuted groups of people on Twitter. And so I thought, like, here's an app created by a Black woman. This is the perfect place for people, for Black women especially, to go to get away from Twitter. And unfortunately, that did not end up happening. And I actually just thought about this app right before I started to record this video, and I tried to go into it, and the app is defunct now, which I'm not surprised by because the last time I had spoken to Jordana, one of the last times I spoke to her via DM, she had told me that, she really needed to get funding. She was funding the app herself, and she wasn't going to be able to do it much longer. And so now that it seems like Blue Sky is really taking off, it's really upsetting to me that this app that was created by a Black woman, people never gave a chance. And I don't know, like, that's just really hurtful to me as a Black woman, that people never considered this as a real place to go And now the opportunity is gone. And I'm not saying that the app was perfect. It had its issues, but I don't know. Like, I just feel like had she been able to get funded, had she had a little bit more time, maybe it could have been a viable option for people. And for me, I've had my Twitter account for 15 years. I was there before Elon. And so it's really hard for me to just say, oh, I'm going to leave Twitter because the account is very sentimental to me now. I have built a community with other people that love Big Brother on Twitter, other people that love Survivor on Twitter, other people that are Lakers fans on Twitter, other people that are Real Housewives fans on Twitter. Like, I'm a part of so many different communities on Twitter. And, I think I've told y'all I host a Twitter space every week to talk about Survivor when the show is airing. Now that the Black Twitter app is gone, there is no other place to host a space. And it's like, you might think, okay, well, why don't you just, do a TikTok live or do an IG live? Well, in spaces, there's an opportunity for, you have 10 speaker spots. So that means that 10 other people, and if you use both of the co-host spots, that means 12 other people besides me can speak. And we all have the opportunity to speak at the same time. Now, there are a lot of people that can be live on TikTok. I don't know what the limit is, but it's just not the same feel. It doesn't feel, in my opinion, it doesn't feel as intimate as a Twitter space does. Even though in both mediums, there are people that are not talking, that are listening to you, and that can provide their own commentary. I just like the vibe of a Twitter space better than for me to be on TikTok live with a bunch of people. And so, and it's easier to keep people out that you don't want there in a Twitter space than it is on TikTok live. Like, it feels easier to me. And so, I don't know. Like, I'm not really having a dilemma right now because I'm probably going to keep my Twitter account until the whole thing burns to the ground. And I guess I'll get on Blue Sky eventually, but I don't feel pressed to do it right now because so many people that are leaving are still on Twitter. So, but I just happened to think about the Black Twitter app, and it just made me sad that it didn't work out. So if you have any thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you had an account on the Black Twitter app, let me know. But yeah, people say that they want alternatives, but the truth of the matter is they only want alternatives from certain people. And I'm tired of that.